Welcome to Beyond the Press Release, a production of Gore Column in which we take the time to speak with small cap executives right after they put out important news. We don't have one piece of news to talk about. We got two, and they're huge. We're with Scott Burton, CEO, FansUnite Entertainment, trades on the CSE and the stock symbol FANS, F-A-N-S, beautiful symbol. And for our friends in the US, under F-U-N-F-F, FUNFF, that's on the OTCQB. Look, I'd normally go into a big introduction here, but I want to get straight to the news because Fans is dominating now online iGaming, esports gambling out of the small cap world as far as a small cap player goes. Nobody's doing it better than them. That's why we're calling them the small cap iGaming super company. We know that iGaming is going to grow by leaps and bounds this year, this decade. Jurisdictions want to recover that tax money. States are legalizing. Canada looks like it's on the cusp of changing the rules, and FansUnite is beautifully situated. Scott, congratulations! Welcome back to the show, man.
Yeah, thanks, George. Good to be back so soon with some more good news.
Yeah, every time we think we're going to sign off with you for the year, bam, you're right back.
Yeah.
Today's headline, we're going to read this: FansUnite and GameCo to create the first dedicated esports sportsbook in the United States, with Sky Ute Casino in Colorado, and fans, the tagline there, will gain first mover advantage into the US esports betting market through this long-term partnership with GameCo. Man, before we get into the details, how big is this for fans? Actually, how big is this in the industry, considering it's the first dedicated esports book in all of America? This is history.
Yeah, I think it's a huge news for the industry, and then for esports in particular. So we all know what's going on with traditional sports betting in the U.S. and the size. For somebody to take this move to be the first mover and separate out and have just a dedicated sports book for esports is massive, I would say. So we're happy to be a part of it. Happy that the opportunity is in Colorado. So GameCo has been a great partner in bringing us some deals like this, where the software behind it, and hopefully it's the first of many state rollouts we can look to do in the coming years.
Look, how much business could this be worth? But more importantly, once we talk about that, what do you expect it to do in terms of attracting more casinos throughout other U.S. states that are looking to launch an esports sportsbook? Like, how high up the rung are you guys now in terms of being the man?
Yeah, I think with our GameCo relationship and then getting this out and being the first to launch it dedicated, I would imagine it puts us somewhere near the top of the list of people to talk to. We've been kind of known already in the space for doing it, but to actually sort of pull off a US move this early for us is a big step, because we've been focused globally outside of North America, primarily because of rules and regulations.
Sure.
I think when we announced the GameCo relationship back in September, that we thought the US was probably a couple of years away from us realistically in terms of getting our foot in the door. And that announcement in September, where we started to look at opportunities with GameCo, I think that sped us up by a year. And then to be able to announce our first installation deal done and imminent in terms of launching is massive. And the size of that space, it's hard to estimate today just because of the fragmentation of the US market and the way esports is being treated right now. What we do hope is that this creates some major momentum in other states to take a look at esports. So we know the betting activity is there globally. So if you look outside of the US, there's hundreds of millions and billions of dollars that get bet on esports now. The US is a bit challenging because of the fragmentation state by state and the way they're looking at esports. So I think by Colorado taking this step and us taking this step with them and doing it in a regulated way, which means that, we're only offering betting on sanctioned esports events from professional organizations and leagues.
Right.
We're only doing markets where we get official data direct from server from one of those leagues. And all of our markets are overseen by the Esports Integrity Coalition. So I think we can accelerate esports betting throughout the US by showing that it can be done this way, because a lot of states right now are separating out esports from their rules around traditional sports betting. So if you look at
why is that, Scott? Why why are they just putting all the same basket at the end of the day? Because it's, at the end of the day, it's sports, and you got two teams, you got fans either side that want to bet. Well, why the differentiator for now?
Yeah, I think the big one for now, and why we're going the approach we are with the regulation and the ESIC oversight, which is the Integrity Coalition, is I think there's a lack of understanding on esports still in terms of how exactly regulated it is in terms of the major sanctioned events. So I think it's really just an education process that the states need to go through. And it's kind of been done in about, I think, 9 states right now have made a determination on esports. So I think more and more will do it. And really, I think this will show a framework on how to do it. And that's really what we wanted to be a part of. And we know that GameCo has the same feeling, as well as Grid, the data supplier to GameCo, and TenStar. So we're working with a group that's heavily involved in data integrity, making direct deals with tournaments and events to get the proper data, and then working with the Integrity Coalition. So from here, we can then go out to the other states and show how it can be done in a safe and regulated way. So it's really, I think, education, and it's also the size. So today, still, sports is leading the way. So if you're a state and you want gambling revenue, traditional sports is still going to be the number one thing. But what we're seeing in places like Europe and other Asia is where esports went from being no volume 3 to 5 years ago to making up anywhere from 5 to 7% of a sports book, and predicted to be 10% of a sports book in the coming years. So it can't be ignored, and really that's what it is today. Is people see the current opportunity as a bit smaller than traditional sports, but they have to understand what's happening 5 years from now, 10 years from now, and where it's going to get to. And so I think Colorado has been a bit more progressive in the way they're looking at esports. But you look at Europe, and it gets treated much more like a traditional sport. So that's what we think this deal will help pave the way for other states to follow quickly.
Yeah, look, as a small cap company, I think investors are okay with that, because that's the whole idea behind growing with the small cap. So this is perfect position, right? The first, is it historic? I mean, how do you feel to be part of history? The fact that FansUnite is the first, is created with GameCo, the first dedicated esports book in America. This goes down in history, right?
Yeah, I think it's amazing. I think to be able to say that we were part of that is huge. So I think it's great, and to have the group that run the Sky Casino to see it, to see the opportunity has been exceptional in terms of their look to see the future and what they see. So that's amazing. I think we've done it in the past. We were the first ever dedicated daily fantasy site for esports going back to 2014. So we've long been promoters of the esports space and try and push to be, I guess, pioneers in any area that we are. And our background helps us do that. So that's why I think we got approached by the group that was putting this together. So our involvement with Grid, GameCo, Esports Integrity Coalition, they've been groups that we've been connected to for the last 4 years, and all on the same page in terms of trying to bring this, esports betting done the right way to the US. The nice thing for us being a small cap, as you said, but this is a major opportunity for us, but we have major opportunity already. Everything we're doing is outside of North America, and it's huge. So that's why we were never too concerned when people used to ask us when we got into the space, well, a few years ago, like, you can't bet on sports in the US. Why are you going after that market? Well, it's huge. Outside of the US, it's huge. And especially when you look at esports. Esports is truly, truly global, whereas baseball, hockey, basketball, those are very North American centric sports, whereas esports just goes around the world. So this is amazing that we can get into the US this early. Like I said, I think the real opportunity is in the next few years in the US, but we're well positioned, and we should be having conversations, I think, with any other casino or group that's wanting to pull out or bring out a dedicated esports product.
You announced a $5 million financing yesterday. What are you going to be using that money for? Clearly, it's going to be expansion and development, but tell us about that finance, regardless of why this is the opportune time to get it done.
Yeah. So it wasn't initially probably on our radar for this timing. We're in the nice position. We did a financing with the merge between FansUnite and Ascot. So we did a financing this summer. We were well capitalized. We have zero long-term debt, cash in the bank, revenue growing. So it was a great spot. We saw a window right now where we could take advantage of, I think, raising some money and increase our cash balance, give us a better balance sheet going in 2021. When you look at what we just did with the Sky Casino, that's really the tip of the iceberg of the opportunities we have just pouring on us right now, and we need to be able to move faster and execute on those. And so we wanted to position ourselves going into 2021 to ramp up. So we are aggressively hiring, throughout our locations, whether it be in North America, Europe. So we're actively adding to the team now to move quicker on all of the opportunities we have in front of us. So we'll be announcing more and more of those in the coming weeks and months. And we just want to move quicker. It also gives us the chance to go into a year knowing we don't need to worry about financing. There could be another opportunistic time where we need to access capital markets for maybe a merge and acquisition type scenario. But this does put money in the bank where we can move quicker if we decide that there is an acquisition or something we want to deploy capital towards. So it really sets us up nicely. And I think investors will like the look of our balance sheet at the end of the year that is cashed up, tons of opportunity, growing revenue, and ready to execute.
2 minutes on two things. I want to talk about just how things are going in Canada, and then how things look for 2021, even though we'll probably have you back on the way you're going before the end of this year. But look, you're pioneered the US, and there are things, the ground is shaking in Canada. How is the Canadian landscape looking?
Yeah, it's another one we're really excited about, and I don't know that the global market completely understands the potential opportunity in Canada and the size it could be. But with the changes coming, and we expect them to be next year, I could see us, participating in the Canadian market in some way next year, which is really exciting. It's got the potential to be a huge market. It's a very big betting market already. It's always listed in the top 10 in terms of, the number of people that are betting or using the online sports books. And there's over $14 billion that's going offshore right now. So that's a big piece of business that is in our backyard. And so that's going to be, I think, really good news coming forward. It's moving quite quickly in terms of where the government's going to be in first repealing or changing the single event betting. We hope to see that in I would say the first quarter maybe of the year, and then Ontario making a move hopefully before the Q3 type timeline next year. Those are just me hoping and predicting. I have no insight into what the government's doing, and they can be.
They need the tax money. They've racked up deficits this year, unheard of, unimaginable. They're going to be bringing in revenue from everywhere. Yeah, we can't speak on behalf of the government, but I'd be shocked if someone doesn't says, "Hey, let's get this ticked. Let's go."
That's the feeling. That's
guaranteed money that we're losing to Georgia's gambling emporium offshore. Why the hell are we still doing this?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's going to be huge, and you'll see, I think, a ton of activity flowing into Canada because of that. We're also positioned to be a technology provider to anyone who wants to get into this market, not just from esports, but traditional sports and iGaming casinos. So really, I think the big ones for us next year is more of the announcements around B2B. We have a lot more of those coming, I think. The US, we could see more of those, and our casino ramp up of our own games is an area that is coming fast and has the potential to be a huge revenue generator for us. McBookie's doing great, and next year's going to be McBookie's biggest year ever. We're having that now, but we know next year with the Euros going on in their backyard, Scotland being a part of it, they're set up. They're the best Scottish sportsbook out there, and so it's just going to be an amazing year for those guys. Very excited for them. So then the one that people wouldn't know about, we don't know about yet ourselves, but with this financing, we will, probably take a more serious look at the next potential acquisition. FansUnite's done two really since spring. So they acquired McBookie first, then we did the merge between Ascot and FansUnite. So a very good track record of pulling off very I guess major transformational type M&A. And so we have that on our minds as well going into the new year.
Well, look, if I had George's esports or iGaming betting emporium and I'm looking for an exit, FansUnite has got to be at the top of the list because you're proving that you can execute. You're moving, so it just makes you more attractive, way more attractive than pretty much anybody out there. So, man, congratulations on what you guys were able to pull off today. This is fantastic news. You made history. We're going to keep this because this video is part of us kind of making history, talking to the company that created the first dedicated esports sportsbook in America, and looking for. I'd almost say, wishing you a great, great new year, great year, and happy holidays. But I don't know if I'm going to have you back, in the next 2 weeks. So I'm hoping I will.
Yeah. We could see you in a couple weeks. So thanks for your time, George. Always appreciate it.
You've been watching, or you've been listening to my podcast to Scott Burton. He's CEO of FansUnite Entertainment, trades on the CSE and the stock symbol FANS, FANS, and for our friends in the US, FUNFF. If you're new to the story, get to Agoracom, get to the FansUnite Hub. The profile page has everything laid out for you so you can understand this thing, do your due diligence, and hopefully you discovered your next great small cap company. Have a great day. Talk to you next time.